Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're not really doing a traditional deep dive, more like stepping into a really chilling story. We're looking at sources you sent us about two incredibly disturbing events out of China.
Yeah, events that really expose something quite dark about, well, belief systems and how unpredictable people can be.
Exactly. Our goal here is to sift through these narratives, understand what happened, and maybe see what links these events, particularly this group called Eastern Lightning. We'll start with a very public, very brutal killing in a McDonald's.
And then move to something more recent, much stranger, that just might be connected.
It really makes you reconsider the idea that everyone operates on logic, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Assuming rationality, especially when you're looking at these kinds of fringe beliefs or high control groups, well, it's a dangerous mistake. The sources really show how that assumption just falls apart.
Definitely. So let's set the scene. May 28th, 2014. Zhao Yuan, a small city in China. Picture Wu Shu Yan. She's 37, a saleswoman. She's just finished work, probably tired, She decides to pop into a McDonald's in a shopping mall, just waiting for her husband and her little boy, who is 5.
Just a totally normal end to a workday, getting a bite to eat.
Exactly. Completely mundane. The kind of thing you or I might do without a second thought. She had absolutely no way of knowing what was about to happen. So while she's waiting, these 6 people walk into the McDonald's, and they stood out, apparently. They weren't there to order food.
No, they were members of this group, Eastern Lightning, a banned cult, actually, with some really, really out there beliefs.
Right. Eastern Lightning, or sometimes it's called the Church of Almighty God. It was started, about 30 years before this incident, by a guy named Zhao Yuan, who used to be a physics teacher.
Yeah, a physics teacher. And his main claim, his big thing, was that God had already come back to Earth.
But not in the way you might expect. He claimed God returned as a Chinese woman, Yang Zhengbin, and this return meant the apocalypse was coming soon.
It's this strange mix, isn't it? Christianity, bits of Chinese folk religion, even some communist ideas thrown in.
And somehow, it got a huge following, which is baffling in itself. Zhao Yuan, the founder, he actually fled to the US back in '95 when the group got outlawed in China.
But even with him gone, and the group kept growing, kept spreading its message.
How does that even happen? How does a group like that keep going, keep recruiting, when it's banned and the leader's overseas?
Well, part of it is that search for meaning, especially in a China that was changing so fast after Mao. You had economic shifts, social structures breaking down.
Yeah.
People were looking for answers, for community.
The Eastern Lightning offered that, a sense of purpose.
Exactly. A purpose, a clear, if terrifying future. And the idea of God returning as a Chinese woman, that likely resonated culturally, made God feel closer, more accessible maybe. Plus, their structure is key. Mm-hmm. They operate in these small, tight-knit cells, often families. That's how the beliefs get passed down, reinforced. It creates these little bubbles where their reality is the only reality. Very insular.
And that's exactly what Wu Shu Yan walked into, this group in McDonald's. It was one of those family units. You had Zhang Ledong, kind of the father figure, his partner Zhang Chaolan, 3 of his kids from a previous marriage, one was only 12 years old, and another young woman living with them, Lu Yingcheng.
A whole family unit, deeply embedded.
And they weren't quiet about it. Zhang Ledong just starts loudly announcing to everyone in the McDonald's, "We're missionaries from Eastern Lightning. We're here to save your souls."
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that. And then they started going table to table, demanding people's phone numbers, contact info.
How did people react?
Mostly people were just awkward, probably intimidated. They just gave their numbers, to make them go away. But then they came to Wu Shu Yan's table. Remember, she just finished work. She's tired. She's not in the mood for this.
Understandable.
She saw them as, probably just annoying bullies trying to push their beliefs on her. She wasn't about to give her personal details to these strangers. So Sang Fan, who was Ludong's 30-year-old daughter, she gives Wu Shu Yan a pamphlet, asks for her number. Wu Shu Yan just says no. Firmly.
Okay.
Fan gets visibly angry, asks again. Wu Shu Yan says no, again. And in that split second, something snaps in Zhang Fan.
That moment of refusal.
Yeah. Was it humiliation? Was it rage? Or did she suddenly see Wu Shu Yan not as a person, but as something else, something hostile to her mission?
Well, these high-control groups, that's often exactly what happens. A simple no isn't just impolite, it's seen as opposition. Opposition to God, to their sacred duty.
So the person becomes an obstacle. Or worse.
Or worse. They become dehumanized,
Yeah.
labeled an evil spirit, something that needs to be dealt with. And when the whole group is there, that feeling gets amplified. They feed off each other, validate the extreme reaction, especially with a figure like Zhang Fan leading the charge.
It goes from a minor annoyance to an existential threat in their minds. And then it just turned unbelievably violent. Zhang Fan grabs a chair, a heavy restaurant chair, and just smashes it over Wu Shu Yan, knocks her right to the ground.
Oh my God.
Then Fan starts screaming that Wu Shu Yan is an evil spirit, begging her father, Zhang Lidong, to slay her.
Slay her.
That's the word they used. And he did. Lidong grabbed a mop handle. They'd apparently brought mops with them and started beating Wu Shu Yan with it.
With a mop handle.
Yeah. Then the others jumped in. His partner, the other kids, Lu Yingchang, all beating her with mop handles. Then they started stomping on her head, screaming, "Go die, evil spirit, go die." Even the 12-year-old boy was kicking her in the face, shouting, "Evil goes to hell."
And the other customers, what were they doing?
One of the cult members shouted at them, "Whoever interferes will die." So nobody stepped in physically.
Yeah.
But people filmed it on their phones.
They recorded it.
The whole thing, that footage is still out there. It's horrific. After the attack, they just stopped. Calmly walked out of the McDonald's, leaving Wu Shu Yan there, bleeding on the floor.
Just left her.
She died right there, stomped to death because she wouldn't give them her phone number.
I have no words.
The police got there quickly, arrested all 6 of them that same night, and when that phone footage hit the internet, well, it caused absolute shockwaves across China. People just couldn't process it. How could this happen?
The sheer senselessness of it.
Exactly. And what's maybe even more disturbing is what came next. Zhang Lidong, the father, no remorse, none.
Seriously.
In interviews during the trial, he was totally unapologetic, said he didn't feel bad at all. She was an evil spirit, he said, and they had to destroy her. He even admitted, "I beat her with all my might and stomped on her too."
Just admitted it like it was nothing.
And Lu Yingchan, the young woman with them, she backed him up completely, testified they were attacked by this evil spirit that made them feel weak. Said Wu Shu Yan was that spirit.
A battle between two spirits, she called it.
And she said Wu Shu Yan must die, or, quote, it would devour everybody. That was their justification.
It's fascinating, though, how their specific beliefs seem to have twisted, even from the main Eastern Lightning group.
How so?
Well, the main cult belief was God returned as one woman, right? Yang Shangbin.
Right.
But this family, Lidong's group, they believed something slightly different, and maybe even more specific to them. They thought God returned as a single soul, but living in 2 bodies.
2 bodies. Whose?
Lu Yingchun and Zhang Fan, the 2 women in the group.
So they were God in their minds.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
It's what you sometimes see when these groups go underground or splinter off. They can develop these even more extreme, personalized interpretations. The original rules become less important than the pronouncements of the new internal prophets in this case, maybe Fan and Lu Yingchun.
That makes sense. And Zhang Fan actually said in court, didn't she? Something like, "I am God in his substance."
She did. And she said Lu Yingchun was too. 2 bodies in the flesh, but we share the same soul, I think was the quote.
And they looked down on other Eastern Lightning members.
Yeah, called them crazy cult worshippers. They saw themselves as the real deal, the true embodiment of God.
Which, in their minds, gave them the right to judge and execute.
Precisely. That self-proclaimed divinity became the ultimate justification.
So the trial outcome.
Zhang Lidong and Zhang Fan were found guilty, sentenced to death. They were executed in February 2015.
Okay.
Lu Yingchun got a life sentence. The older son, Zhang Heng, he was 18, got 10 years. And Zhang Qiolin, who was 24, got 7 years.
And the 12-year-old.
Too young under Chinese law to be tried for the crime.
So that McDonald's case, it's this horrifyingly public example of the violence, but the sources you shared also point to, well, other kinds of manifestations, maybe more hidden, more ritualistic.
Yes, especially when dealing with state control and censorship. It forces things underground, makes them harder to track.
Which brings us to this other incident, much more recent, just a couple of months ago, May 2025, and much weirder in a way.
This was in Sanya, right? The resort island in southern China.
Yeah. People started seeing this woman, dressed head to toe in red, dancing, but dancing on the outside railing of her balcony.
Outside, how high up?
25th floor.
Wow. Okay.
Holiday makers, neighbors, they were horrified, filming her. She's swaying, twisting her hips, sometimes holding on with just one hand. People are yelling up at her, "Get back inside!"
And what does she do?
Just shouted back, "It's okay, I'm filming a video." Apparently, neighbors had seen her doing this for days, always in red.
For days.
Yeah. Eventually, a security guard went up, knocked on the door. A man answered, holding a camera, said they were just making short videos. The woman came to the door, totally calm, said she was renting. It was her business if she wanted to dance on the railing.
And the guard just left.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then she climbed right back out onto the railing and started dancing again.
Okay, this is getting stranger.
And then it's just minutes later, people filmed her falling. You hear this awful scream as she just plummets 25 floors. She died, obviously. Identified later as Shimomo, 41 years old. The videos went viral, of course. The dancing, the fall.
And what did the investigation find? Accidental fall, suicide.
It's unclear if she slipped or let go intentionally, but they did find a note in her apartment, crumpled, typed, supposedly signed by her.
What did it say?
It requested her organs be donated and her ashes scattered at sea.
Okay, but a typed note, that seems off.
Exactly what people online pointed out. Anyone could have typed it and just got her to sign, or maybe even forged it.
And donating organs after a 25-story fall.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, does it? The trauma would destroy them.
Right. It makes no practical sense if that was the goal. And then there was the wording of the note itself.
Unusual how?
People said it used specific terms, kind of archaic language linked to Chinese folklore about achieving immortality, like becoming a Xian. Not just living longer, but actually transcending death.
So not just a simple donation request.
Right.
It had these ritualistic undertones.
That's what the online commenters were saying. It added this whole other layer of strangeness. And then there's the red outfit. Red dress, red shoes, red hat. Everything red.
Red in China. It's usually lucky, right? Celebration.
It is. But there's also a darker side in folklore. Someone who dies wearing all red is sometimes believed to come back as a vengeful spirit, a really powerful, angry ghost.
So in this context, the red isn't festive, it's ominous.
Very ominous. Given all these weird details, the dancing, the fall, the type note, the folklore links, the red clothes, it didn't take long for online rumors to start.
Connecting it to Eastern lightning.
Yep. People on Jihu, that's like China's Quora, started posting about a supposed Eastern lightning ritual.
What kind of ritual?
A self-sacrifice ritual. They claimed fanatical followers dress all in red, go somewhere high, dance for 5 days straight.
5 days.
According to these anonymous posts, yeah. And then on the 5th day, they leaped to their death, sacrificing their soul for the cult.
And others confirm this.
Countless anonymous replies flooded in, saying, yes, this is real, it happens, especially in poor rural areas where people might be more easily manipulated.
Which makes sense. Targeting vulnerable populations is a common tactic for these groups.
But we have to stress, right, these are still just rumors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Given China's censorship and the potential penalties for speaking out, getting concrete proof is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Maybe impossible. The lack of official information actually helps rumors like this spread. It's a vacuum that gets filled with speculation.
So while there's no official confirmation, a lot of people online basically concluded Momo's death was this Eastern lightning sacrifice.
Which leaves that really disturbing question.
Did she do it willingly, believing she was achieving something? Or was she pressured, coerced? Especially with that guy filming her in the apartment.
And we still don't know who he was or what happened to his footage?
No. He just vanished from the narrative.
So you have these two incredibly shocking stories. One, this explosion of public violence in the McDonald's. The other, this bizarre, possibly ritualistic death in Sanya.
Both filmed. Both went viral.
And both potentially linked back to this shadowy, sprawling network of Eastern lightning. A group estimated to have maybe 2 million followers.
It's staggering and chilling to think how it keeps operating, keeps adapting, often with these terrible results.
It really shows the destructive power these extreme belief systems can have. Whether it sparks sudden rage, like with Wu Shu Yan, or leads to something seemingly calculated, like potentially with Shimomo.
It forces you to confront how vulnerable people can be to manipulation and how far belief can push someone.
It does. It's a stark reminder, really, of the dangers that can exist just under the surface of society and how difficult it is to truly grasp actions driven by that kind of intense, irrational conviction.
Well, thank you for joining us for this rather grim deep dive today. We hope exploring these sources gave you some insight, however disturbing.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about.
If you found this valuable, please do like, share, and subscribe to Horror Docx for more stories from the shadows. We appreciate your support. Until next time, stay spooky and remember, the best things often happen in the dark.